Hello, hello. Welcome back to another exciting episode of YOML. We are YOML 101. So, it's not 101 basic, but 101 as episode 101. So, we're talking about Kitchen Confidential Adventures in the Culinary Underbelly by Anthony Bourdain. So, Chris,
you know who Anthony Bourdain is, right?
I love to cook. So, these guys, Andrew Zimmerman,
Yeah,
I love the guys to go and I just do. I watch a lot of his episode where he goes and he writes about stuff. So I do know him pretty well.
yeah. So Anthony Bourdain. My back? Oh,
You're back.
all right. So Anthony Bourdain. I think we all know who Anthony Bourdain is. If you don't, he's a famous chef. This book is kind of the book that was the catalyst for his career. This book is what kind of made him famous. He wrote this book called Kitchen Confidential: The Adventures in the Culinary Underbelly, which was like a no holds barred look at the restaurant scene of what it takes to make it in there, like what it's like to day-to-day life, like a truly like, like if you want to become a chef, like what's the path you need to take to get there, and like all the different players in the restaurant world, and kind of stuff like that. It was an interesting read. The reason, actually, this is a fun story as to why I actually even picked this book. So this is another compound effect one. I just randomly asked a bunch of friends on social media one time, like, what would be a book you would recommend? And this is somebody's book that works in the culinary world. He was like, "Oh, I love Kitchen Confidential. It's always a great book." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, this is never a book that I would have ever read, because culinary stuff isn't really that big of a deal for me." But somebody recommended it and said they loved it. I was like, "All right, I'll check it out." So it was, I mean, the one word that I could only think about the entire time that I was reading this entire book was unbalanced. And here's the reason why. Like, these chefs' lives, these restaurant workers' lives are awful. I mean, I don't know. Have you ever worked in a restaurant before?
I have worked as a busboy when I was 15, but I could not, never would ever go back and do that. I love to cook, but I cook for my family and for me. I don't cook for the public. And so in essence, I don't really know what the chef's going through.
Right. In high school, myself as well, I worked for my uncle's catering banquet hall that he owned. And then I also worked at a restaurant for 2 years. So I'm very familiar with this world. Same thing with you. I was never a chef or anything like that, but I was around the scene and I saw the lives that these people led, that were the career professionals in this world. And it sucked. I mean, it made me never want to be in this industry, honestly. Like, these people's lives looked miserable. One of my best friends is a lifelong restaurant worker as well. And I mean, his life is just, I would never trade him for a million years as to what he does every single day. I mean, he gets home at 2 o'clock in the morning. He's a bartender. He eats dinner at like 3 a.m. and he's up until like 5 or 6. He sleeps until like, I don't know, whenever he, drinks himself to sleep because he can't get to sleep fast at night, or something like that, that he's got to get back up and be at work at like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And you're like, what kind of a life is this? Like, you don't see people during the day. You're out all night. You have to drink yourself to sleep every night, kind of thing, just to get back up, to get to the work, and it's exhausting work. I mean, you're physically demanding, on your feet, running back and forth everywhere. It just sucks. And these people in this kitchen, like, they don't make a ton of money. Obviously, they all work for tips, right? Tip share for the chefs as well. I mean, they get a little bit of a salary. Same thing with like, bartenders and waiters and servers, obviously. But, like these chefs are slaving away under a hot grill, like pouring sweat all over the place, burning themselves everywhere, like constantly under the gun of next order, next order, next order. I mean, it's crazy. Have you ever seen the movie Waiting with Ryan Reynolds before?
No, is it a good one? Should I watch it?
It's a great movie. It's kind of an older movie. If you want to get there's never been a better movie that I've ever seen that depicts the restaurant industry, like the real restaurant industry. It basically is like this book, with Anthony Bourdain. Their life sucks. They have the most unbalanced lives that you can ever imagine. So it makes me like, after I read this book, I genuinely, the first word that comes to mind, like I said, is unbalanced. And it genuinely made me wonder, like, how the hell did this industry, get this way? The food industry should be like one of the easiest industries to translate meaningful work to it. You know what I mean? This is producing art every single day and helping to share that with other people. Cooking is art. And for a lot of people, it's very meaningful work. But at the same time, if this is like, how did this industry become this way? Is it an unbalanced industry that attracts unbalanced people? Or is it like vice versa or something like that? I don't really understand it, because it doesn't make any sense. I visited foreign countries before, like in Italy or whatever it may be. Their restaurant industry is totally different. Like, their employees are paid pretty high wages. They don't do tips or anything like that. They have reasonable hours. Those are quality jobs. Like, people want to work in a restaurant in Italy. That's a job you can work for your entire life. And have a pretty balanced life. But for some weird reason in this industry in America, this is the life, and it's insane. It's awful. And I feel really bad for these people. So, it made me start to think, as like the whole idea of balance in our mission, like what's my role in this? When I go visit a restaurant, I mean, and it made me think like it always starts with you at the end of the day. If you see how crappy this industry is, like, you don't have to just be an innocent bystander and go, oh, it's just a crappy industry. I mean, you could start to make changes yourself on simple things we can do. Like, it creates an unbalanced customer as well. Like, people go into these restaurants these days expecting to be treated like kings, to be waited on hand and foot, get an incredibly high quality meal delivered to them super fast and super affordable at the same time, and also deal with all this bullshit that they have to go deal with. Change your expectations going in, because the unbalanced customer might be the one that's driving the unbalanced production that needs to be done here, and these lifestyles that these people have to leave, which is awful. All this roundabout sort of way for me is, with this particular book, it just reminded me, like, everybody deserves to have an opportunity for meaningful work and to live a balanced life. These waiters and cooks and restaurant staff are no different. They're not servants for us. We should treat them like normal people and give them an opportunity to live a balanced life. I think that should be a goal, that we figure out how to help revitalize this restaurant industry in America, potentially. But yeah, so I'll pause there. And the question that I posed is how can you help others when you see that they're living a life out of balance in your world? So yeah, I'll pause there. Love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, so for me, in my opinion, there is a spiral effect, because for one, in the restaurant industry, because it become commoditized in a way, everyone is squeezing every single ounce of profit. And because there's so many restaurants out there, that cause these margins to go thinner and thinner every single day. So most restaurants, they're competing with very low margins, and there's so many
Right.
of them out there. You have to even get to the point where you become like Chef Ramsay or Anthony Bourdain or Andrew Zimmerman, to even get to the point where you can charge a high price
Right.
for the dishes you make. As a quote unquote amateur and the chef kind of fan, what I cook is I only cook things that I would eat. And if I don't cook in a way that I feel like it's my best effort, I would not serve it.
Right.
But that is a luxury
Yeah.
these people cannot afford.
I know. Yeah.
The problem with that is because, like you say, restaurant, let's say an unbalanced restaurant, customer comes in the restaurant and expects a bunch of things and unreasonable. The I guess the culture is that you trying to accommodate that bad customer. And
Right.
bad customer creates more spiral effect on you. You do the work, but then you're not happy with serving their best food to this person who never appreciates.
Right.
But you're forced to do it. What happens is, because you're forced to do that, you start to say, well, it's a bad customer, so I'm going to be okay with reducing the quality of the food I provide. For me, like I say, if I messed up, I threw that whole thing away.
I mean,
I'm not going to
that should be
serve you.
fair.
I'm
Like,
not
I
going to
mean,
serve you because I would not eat it. Because imagine, like, let us say, kind of like I sweat blood and tears and put my effort for last hour or whatever to prepare this juicy steak or this whatever recipe that, I want to serve. And then somebody is just not appreciative of the effort I put in. So how can you continue to take pride in your work? Right. And if you get into culinary profession and you didn't know this before, right, you're stuck. It's not like you can go find a job.
Right.
You spend so much money and so much time and so much effort in trying to build up your career. The only thing you can do is, because this customer is not appreciative, you're gonna have to lower your quality and lower standard, and eventually you're just serving food and smoking cigarettes or whatever. Just like imagine in a fast food restaurant, and then you have all these competitions of other restaurants. Everything's become commoditized, and people won't pay you for this and for that, and everybody wants to, like the managers at the restaurant, the owner restaurant, right? They're going to say, well, because I need to make the money. So if a bad customer comes in and demand something unreasonable, you still trying to accommodate them. For one, is they're going to have that extra income, and second, you don't want to get a bad reputation that other people stray away from your restaurant, and you're going to be under the water.
Right.
So if you say, well, I mean, think about it. If you were a young person and want to get into the culinary because you love to cook for people, how would you make it? How would you make a name for yourself? Can you make even make money, right?
It,
So the thing is, you have to work your way up.
well,
And,
I mean,
and, and when you went to work your way up, your values and your ideal, your principle, your philosophy, it getting crushed. It makes you throw it out the window because you cannot. Let's say you have this value is, I will serve the best food I can make. That's not possible. So in order for you to continue, you have to throw that away. And
right.
by the time you get like 4 or 5 years into it, you become jaded like anyone else. So your value would never there anymore. So like I said, there's a spiral of things, right? It just get make worse and worse. And then when you have low quality food, then the customer, it's going to spiral into it's how the restaurants are bad and I'm going to not
Right.
pay and I'm going to find other places. And so it makes it worse. So it's in this restaurant industry, it's so difficult to stand out and be like the Andrew or the Ramses and you know
Yeah, but
all the good
even they're
chefs.
not happy though. I mean, like Bourdain killed himself, like I mean, like
Yeah.
like even that dude. That's why when I said the question of like, did are guys like him attracted to this industry because they're unbalanced, or is it?
I think they attracted to the industry because of the love of cooking. Okay. And to me, a lot of people love to cook. I mean, in general, like the population, human beings itself, like
Yeah,
we
it's an
love to
important thing
because
to do.
it reminds us of our past, our history. I mean, we're conditioned to sit around the campfire and cook for each other because that's part of our history, part of the conditioning that we have, right? That's our primal instincts.
Right.
So a lot of people love to cook, but that's what gets them started into the industry. But once they get into it, they didn't know about all these things until they already like kind of get their feet wet, right? And once they're in there, they might as well go through and see if they can make it to the other side. But very few can make it to the other side. And even when you make it to the other side, there's still other demons you have to deal with, like what Anthony Bourdain is dealing with.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that he was. I mean, well, I don't know based on the story that he told. I mean, he certainly wasn't like a model citizen before he went into this industry necessarily, but I think he did go into it with the idea of the love of food, right?
Love of It's a love of food, and to me, like I say, a lot of people can relate to that because
Yeah.
whether you like it and then you want to cook it, because for me is I love food, right? I love to have different experiences, different tastes, right? Just like you asked Kevin, right?
That's a great example because if he had to churn that out every single day and there was people that were beating down his door, like, saying, hey, Kevin, give me this, give me this, give me this. He'd be like, this isn't how I work. This is no, it reminds me of Kevin Smith, the book that we talked about, a long time ago of like when when art becomes, work, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
and it's to your point, it was, exactly true of like if you're cooking for other people in your own house, like, and if you're gonna try your best, but if it isn't good, it isn't good, like, like, and that is what it is, but you're not going to serve it to them, but like you don't have that option. Like Kevin Smith didn't have the option to not do Mallrats or Part 3 or Clerks 3 or whatever the hell it was. He just got stuck into that same downward spiral, like you're saying, of like people expected, give me Clerks, and he's like, I can't do that. That took a lot of art and meaningful work and time in my life to produce that, and that's why it was good. So do you want good stuff or do you want just shit, like, and nobody likes
Well,
that.
yeah, I mean that's the thing is we are being conditioned to expect that. We're conditioned to expect, that's why food in restaurants is very prevalent, especially in the Western world, right? Everywhere you go, there's hundreds of thousands of restaurants in your area. There's just so many.
Right.
And every year, lots and lot of restaurants go out of business because a lot of times it's just like a 1 year wonder kind of deal. And because of that, it becomes so prevalent and competition is so fierce that they have to do these kind of things. And because of that, it teaches the customers to act in a certain way. And so for anyone who goes into this industry, is going to have to follow the precedents. You remember the story about the monkeys where the scientists put, like 4 monkeys in a cage, and then they hang a banana up the top and put a ladder. And every time a monkey would climb up the ladder, they would throw cold water on the monkey, And every single time a monkey would do that, and they do that for a while, and then they start removing one monkey and put in a new monkey, right? And the new monkey would actually go into the on the ladder, start to get a banana. He get beat up by the other three monkey that knew what happened, and then slowly, all the original monkey has been taken out and replaced with the new monkeys, right? One by one. So the new set of monkey has never been throw a cold shower or whatever
Right.
that is a bad experience from, would actually stop any monkey from climbing the ladder, and they don't know why, because that's what the precedent, that's the conditions. And I
Yeah.
think the same happens here. It's a precedent of how we treat these restaurants and these chefs, because whatever happens long time ago, I mean, it's out of our mind, but we expect certain things. Like you go to a restaurant and you sit down and you say, hey, I want to order this massive meal. It has to come within less than 10 minutes.
And be affordable. And
yeah, you want this massive plate that has to come within 10 minutes. And you
delicious,
say, well, this
best
is not
meal you've
fresh.
ever had. You know,
It's not fresh, right? And
Right.
this is so expensive. But that's the thing, is we are conditioned to expect that kind of work. But think about it, under 10 minutes, how can you get food out in 10 minutes and you want to be hot off the oven?
Well,
It's just nearly impossible.
You can kind of blue ocean strategy this, because when you're talking about this, it makes me think of that restaurant a friend of mine went to in Chicago. It's called Alinea. It's like $1,000 a night, but it's an experience, right? You people are signing up to go there. It's like a 12-course menu. You don't know what you're going to get, kind of thing. And you sit there for like 4 hours for dinner. They only have a very small room or whatever. They do stuff, and it's an experience, right? But you don't know what you're getting. This is like an artist at work, and you're just willing to accept that. And people love that. So maybe it's the opposite direction of like the blue ocean of like, fine, if this is what the everyday life is, if you want to try to make cooking for a living into meaningful work, like you got to go that route of like, look, this may not be, it's going to be expensive, and you're going to sit here and you're going to wait and you're going to be patient and you're going to wait for the art to happen, right?
But at the same time,
like,
it's one of these things where, like you say, how can you help others when you are living a life out of balance, right? Because the thing is, you accepted these environment, you accepted these conditions. That's why it makes it worse. If you stop, right, accept, if you have your own value, you say, well, this thing doesn't align with my value. Therefore, you're going to have to think a different way. Therefore, you're going to go into the blue ocean. Like a blue ocean could be like, and I've seen this done successfully. Like as a chef, right? I could cook for 50 people, 100 people, right? No problem. But you have to pre-order. Don't ask me to come, like, hey, you come at 6 and you want your food at 6:10, 6:15. No, I got to prepare the whole freaking day to make it. Let's say you ordered a day ahead. Yeah, I can do that. Right. And then I can coordinate the time when you come to have the food ready. So I will prepare what I need to prepare. And whenever you come, I'm just going to plate, like I'm going to present it. That's it. Right.
That's how they, that's exactly what, like these places you book 4 months in advance, like they know there's only 10 people that are going to come to the restaurant that night. And it's like, you have to book 4 months out. They know what they need to expect. They only have one,
That's a blue ocean, because not a lot of restaurants are doing that right now. Okay, what is the percentage of restaurants are doing just that?
Spend $1,000. My mindset would be like $1,000 on a dinner. That's insane.
Well, it doesn't have to be $1,000, because if you ask me to cook for 200, I mean, I can cook it for like $50.
Well, I know that's
steaks
you.
or whatever, because it has a volume.
Right.
But the thing is, I can't cook it on demand. You have to order at least a day in advance for me to prepare everything and cook in a way that I'm not stressed out.
If you told me to snap your fingers and said, hey, Chris, read a book, give me a reflection and do it tomorrow, I'd be like, I can't do it. Like, I can't, like, I need to have time to savor it, go on a walk with my son, slowly but surely soak it in, give it a few days to resonate, spend time in the morning to reflect. Like, I could not churn this out in a production manner. Meaningful work would become miserable, right? Like, it's meaningful now because we can do it at your own pace and you can deliver it in the way that you want to.
It cannot be meaningful if you're miserable. I mean, right? Meaningful when you have to enjoy it.
Right.
It has to fulfill some sort of need or an empty space or whatever it is that you're trying to fill, right? You're compelled to do the things that you feel like it gives you some sense of happiness or joy when you're doing it. It's like when I cook, I'm like focused. I'm basically zoned out of everything. I'm in my space. Basically, when I cook, I'm in the flow. That means like I feel at peace. I feel like I belong there. I feel like, I mean, I'm not like have any kind of anxiety whatsoever, because for whatever it feels like I'm supposed to be there.
No, you got to give me some credit today. Like there's chaos around me. So.
Yeah, no problem.
And,
But
yeah.
how you handle it makes it unbalanced, because if Luca comes in, that's fine. But how you take in, the space between stimulus and
Response.
response, right?
Yeah.
This is how you handle it. If you handle it in a way, it could be handled so that you are balanced when you handle it.
Right.
It isn't about, I don't have this or don't have that. It's how you choose to react and respond to the chaos that you have right there, or the chaos or the condition that the restaurant is kind of thrown at you. If you handle that correctly in a way that aligns with your values, right, you have balance. But if you let the environment and the conditioning and the culture kind of like sucks you into its world and its cyclone, right, then you're gonna be thrown out of balance and you will be miserable, just because regardless of whether you like to cook or not.
Yeah, I mean, it actually reminds me of that Michael Pollan book that we talked about a few days ago, the patience plus presence equals, transformation kind of thing. Like, I think the key ingredient that's missing, what we've been talking about, was patience in this whole entire book, because they're basically like assembly line robots at that point in time. They're machines, they're line order cooks, that are just
right,
like,
because these
has
guys,
to like pump out production. There's no patience.
They have no feeling at all, because like they are completely numb to all the things that they're supposed to do. I guess they're just in motion.
Yeah, I mean, they're
but
machines.
their mind is not there, right? Their heart is not there. They're basically a humanoid robot,
right? Which
right?
sucks, dude.
They're completely numb to all the thing that happens around them because it's too much to handle.
It is an interesting lesson, right? And in a shitty industry, I think we need to figure out a way to change this. Like, we should use one of our.
Well, I think it comes down to, you need to stop taking the shit. Okay, it's like, if it doesn't align with your values, say no. I'm not taking any more shit from this thing. Even if I like, for me, it's like I love to cook, right? But I cook like my sister or whoever wants me to cook, I'll cook for them. But it's an invite, and I would choose if I want to cook or I don't. Right? I am not going out there and I'll take any jobs, right? So for me, it's like I cook for my family only because that's what I love to do. I do cook for other people, if they have a party, whatever, I'll cook for them. But it is because I determine if that's something I want to do, and it is in my own way. I have to do my own way. I say, well, if you want me to cook, this is what I need. This is what I would do, right? If you're okay with it, then I'll be your cook. If not, it's a no.
Yeah, no,
right?
I love it. I think that's a good ending spot for tonight. Any final thoughts?
Like I said, balance is one of those things that we're gonna have to juggle. And if you put balance first, then you will enjoy your passion more.
Yeah, I think you can't have it be meaningful work if it is unbalanced, right? Like, that's the key, is like, if you have something that's meaningful, make sure that you stay balanced with it. Otherwise, you're
balance is one of the fundamental favorite word of Clubany.
Yeah, exactly. That's the mission, right?
Yes.
So help living that life and helping other people to do the same. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us again. The question we can leave with everybody is, how can you help others when you see that they're living a life out of balance?
Help as well. I mean, do that first.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, man. Well, we will see you all tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. Bye.